guys, my name is Cynthia and welcome to my channel, A Quiet Principle. We'll talk about faith, life, and perspective. Today we are doing a Q&A session, my very first one. I'm super excited. I really appreciate your support, your love, and just following me through every step of the way, even through my mistakes. I look back at the first videos that I did, and not that I'm 100% better now, but I do definitely see the progress. So thank you so much for following me, sticking through this together, and I can guarantee that it will just keep getting better from here. If you guys don't already, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram at A Quiet Praise. I post tons of stuff about my personal life, all things Christian and just in general what's going on in my life. I did post in my stories a Q&A or a poll on questions, and so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So somebody asked me how old I was, and so I have an 18-year-old stepson and I have a 9-year-old son. I am, although I look very young, hopefully, and you'd better be saying I look young, I am 34 years old. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute. I am 34 years old. I was born in 1985. And I honestly feel 23, but then my body feels like a 50-plus-year-old person. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some 50-year-olds that are totally hitting it and they're slamming it and they're fit. I am definitely trying to get there, but I feel mentally that I am older, but my body feels like a 23-year-old, I guess. The other question was in Spanish, and it's asking, tell us about some things that changed, or tell us some things in your character that changed after you accepted Jesus Christ in your life. And so in a previous video on my testimony, I did say that I got baptized at 12. I did just recently get baptized on February 9th, and it was totally different from night to day, the two different baptisms. Number one, I didn't know that I was doing it at 12. I didn't know the reason behind it. Now I'm an adult. I am well aware of my decisions and my love and my choosing to accept Jesus Christ. And so the number one thing that I feel that changed in my character, now I didn't accept Christ when I got baptized. I accepted him probably when I was about 25 is when my life really started changing around, and I feel like from then on my character has been changing for more positive. I have been more patient. Now I know I'm a social worker, and sometimes I used to say I'm not a people person. I get really annoyed by people. I am very quick to react, and so I have seen a progression that I'm actually doing better with my character. I am actually more patient. I am more calm. I don't react anymore. I feel like I'm a little bit more rounded, more well-rounded, and so that is the first thing, or the most thing that stands out for me, is my character and being patient and not letting little things bother me as much as they did before, you know, where somebody would talk about me or would say things about me. That probably still happens, but the way I choose to act to it is totally different. And that's the thing, that when you have Jesus Christ in your heart, people can say all they want about you. They're the ones who are going out angry and upset and bitter, and you have just joy and peace and love in your heart, and you still pray for those people. The Bible says that we have to pray for the people that we don't like, and so that's definitely what I do. Another question that I got asked is how to exercise faith. Now, faith is, as we all know, believing in the things that we do not see. And so the way we exercise faith is kind of like just taking that leap of faith, taking that jump into whatever situation you're going through, taking that step through that open door, even though you don't know what's on the other side. Deciding to make a choice, even you don't know what the outcome is going to be, of course, in a positive context. So definitely, I know I exercise faith all the time, making decisions for my family, for my career. I went from being a counselor, doing mental health counseling, to working with the geriatric population with a health insurance that I just never thought I was going to be able to. It was very scary, but I decided to do it, and here I am now, 6 or 7 years down the road, and I am loving it. I have the ability to work from home. I have the flexibility to take care of my family while still providing. So definitely, how to exercise faith is just praying about it and taking that leap of faith. I know it's like an oxymoron, but taking that leap into the unknown and hoping and knowing that God is going to carry you through it. Another person asked me, how did I become a Christian? Again, I said this in a previous video, but I became a Christian when we moved over here from Puerto Rico when I was 7 years old. I didn't really become, I guess, a Christian until I got baptized that first time at 12. But again, I really didn't know everything about why I was getting baptized and about my faith, but that's actually when we started practicing our Christian faith. That's really when my walk towards Christianity with Christ, getting to know him, getting to know who he was, what he did in my life and what his purpose was at the age of 12. This is another question that I got, and I think it's really interesting. And it says, do you ever get unmotivated being a Christian? And I'm going to be the first one to say that when we are Christians, things happen good and bad. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that you don't ever get negative. And so there were times where I was unmotivated. In my Christian walk, I never really strayed completely from the faith, but I know that after my first divorce, I did get, into that depression and did things that I shouldn't have. I kind of always knew that Jesus was there in the back of my mind, way back there. I totally didn't bring him to the forefront, and I wasn't living a full, honest Christian life at that time, but I was unmotivated. And although I didn't stop going to church, I didn't really want to go to church, and I didn't want to be part of anything. I didn't want to be around anybody. And so I questioned God, as you see in the movies. I did question God, and I said, where are you? Why did you do this to me? Why am I going through this? I'm only 19 years old. I'm going through divorce. Like, why is this happening to me? And I was doubting God, and I felt I was abandoned. And I started, just delving into all these other things that were out of my character that my mom never taught me to do. And so definitely I did feel unmotivated. I can say now, as a more mature Christian, I never get unmotivated. Why? Because my faith is so strong in Jesus Christ and my trust in him and my relationship with him. It's not just like me believing this deity, but actually an honest person, a real life committed, interaction, this person that I trust and that I am indebted to. It's a full-time commitment every day. And so do I get unmotivated now? Absolutely not. And that's going back to the other question. That's one of the things that I see differently now that I've accepted Christ is, like I said, instead of being angry for certain things, I pray about them, and I know that there's a purpose to them, and I know that God has a purpose for them. And so I don't get unmotivated anymore. But in our Christian walk, are we going to get unmotivated? Absolutely. Are there going to be times where we doubt God? Absolutely. Are there going to be times where we are angry at God and are upset and feel like we are alone? Absolutely. But we need to know that that is the lie of the enemy, and we have to hold on strong. And that's when we have to have more faith and know that God is in control. It wouldn't be such a journey, I guess you could say, or a hard thing to be a Christian if everything came easy. It's part of your growing to Christ and growing in your Christian walk. So it's totally okay. It's totally normal in the life that we live in nowadays, and there's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't be ashamed about being unmotivated about being Christian, or about your past, or about having these negative thoughts. Just pray about it and move forward from there. The next question is, what is your biggest struggle while you've been a Christian? And I want to say the biggest struggle is that every time I go to someone and I say that I'm Christian, and they see automatically that I wear skirts or I wear dresses and I am differently, they automatically think and assume that I am judging them. And it's kind of funny because they're the ones judging me by my outward appearance. And so that is really the biggest struggle that I have, is sometimes people think that because you're a Christian, you're automatically off the bat, first impression, you're offending them because you are judging them. And that's absolutely not true. I think that is my biggest struggle, is that people think that I am judging them even before I get to show them who I am and who I am in Christ and show them the love of Christ. The second thing that I really struggle with is people thinking that because you're Christian, you're depending on something other than yourself, and like you're using Jesus as like a sounding board and as like a coping mechanism because you're not strong enough to deal with things on your own. And they almost see Christianity as a weakness, as something that makes you less than anybody else. I used to let that bother me, not anymore. I know that everybody has their own opinion. Everybody is entitled to say whatever they want to say. And so I can say whatever I want to say as well, although I am very cautious and I try not to offend people. But that is definitely a struggle that I have, is that being a Christian, people think that you're automatically weak and you're automatically this type of person. And then when you stand up for yourself, or when you say something, or when you back up what you believe with scripture, or with science or with history, or just that you're defending your beliefs, they kind of get offended and they start playing the blame card, like, oh well, you're just a Christian because you don't have anything else to believe in, or because you're weak, or because you can't do anything yourself. And so those are definitely two things that I struggle with. People feeling that I am judging them because I'm Christian, and people thinking that I am weak because I am a Christian. This is a question that everybody at one time or another probably has asked themselves, and it is, how do you know that God is real? The only way that you know that something is real is because it has affected your life personally. There has been so many stories, so many things that God has done in my life. He healed me from my sickness. He gave me a husband that I never thought or imagined I was going to have after my divorce, in the least expected situation at the least expected time. He allowed me to get pregnant with my son after having a very irregular menstrual cycle and trying for a year and a half and not being able to, just really feeling that we weren't able to have kids and we were able to. So many other stories, but honestly, the only way you know that God is real is because of what he's done in your life. And until that happens to you, you really won't have that one-on-one connection with Jesus Christ. You won't have that passion, that burning desire, that zealous for him, because he's not real to you. So until you feel that God is real, until he has done something in your life and you know it and you acknowledge it, and there's no other way that this could have happened but seeing that God's hand was in that situation, is when you'll really know that God is real. I have another video on how can we trust the Bible, and it talks about the Bible matches up with science. Instead of being against science, it's actually for it, and they complement each other, just like the Bible complements history. And so definitely, if you want to know more about, can we trust the Bible, can we trust God, because God is the Word, you can definitely go check that out. I believe that was one of my first videos, and I think it's really important for us to have that personal relationship, that personal journey with God. I can't know that God is real seeing somebody else's journey, seeing somebody else's testimony. I have to have my own testimony for me to know that God is real in my life. If you don't feel that he's real, if you don't feel him in your life, if you feel that maybe he's just this like mythological person being, pray about it and be honest and say, Lord, I don't know who you are. I don't know you. I want to be able to trust you. I want you to manifest yourself in my life. I want to see you. I want you to be real to me. I want to have a relationship with you, and he will show himself to you. He will show you that he is real and that he is true, and you're going to learn to have that love for him. This question is very present in this time, and it is, are you afraid of the end times? I struggled with fear many, many, many times. And not so long ago did I finally start getting some peace with all these things that are happening in the world, with the earthquakes, with this corona COVID-19 virus thing, with the wars, and things happening in China, and just the fires and all these different things. It's easy for us to get caught up in that. I honestly have been reading different scriptures. I've been praying, asking, pleading, begging God to take the fear away from me, and he has been doing that. I can't do it on my own because I am a sinful person, and fear comes in me, and that is a lie of the enemy. But you know what? I pray about it, and I know that God does not give me more than what I can handle, because that's what the word says, and I trust the word. And so am I afraid of the end times? I don't want to say 100% no, because we're always fearful. We need to be cautious. We need to be aware of what's going on. But ultimately, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. The Bible states it, that there are things that are going to happen in the last days. And so instead of being fearful and running away or being scared, we have to be prepared for them. We have to be ready for them. And we have to accept it. And the sooner these things pass, the sooner we get to go to heaven with Jesus Christ and enjoy that new Jerusalem. One of my followers asked me, why did I start a YouTube? I honestly started a YouTube to hold myself accountable, and that's literally what I say in my intro video. Because if I have to share with you guys, or I have to make a video, it causes me to be connected with Christ. Now, there are some weeks that are better than others, but I always do try to stay some sort of connected. If I don't always read my actual Bible, I will either listen to it or I'll read a devotional. That's definitely why I started YouTube, because I felt that people needed to hear truth. People needed to hear honest Christianity. People needed to hear something worthwhile. There's so many things on YouTube, so many things that don't matter, so many things that are junk out there. And so if I can just put one more channel, one more video out there that motivates people, that gives them this positive vibe, that shows them the word, that brings them to truth, then I am doing my job. And as you can see, I have 104 followers as of this video. So I'm at least, although I am not at 1,000 or 1,000,000, I at least have an audience of 104 people that are actually listening to me, that may share with others, and that this may hopefully inspire. Somebody asked, what is my job? As I mentioned before, I am a social worker. I work for Humana as a long-term care case manager, working with the geriatric population, trying to get the elderly out of the nursing homes into their home and just making them have a more positive life and a better quality of life. I am currently registered with the state, working on my licensure to be a licensed clinical social worker, because I do plan on eventually someday going back to mental health counseling. But trust me, I'm a social worker. I'm always doing counseling with my family, with my friends, with church members, people who call me. So it's always social worker. That's why I chose the career of social work, because it's all encompassing. It's case management, it's actually giving people resources, and it's also mental health piece part of it. And then of course I also volunteer at our Christian Counseling Center at one of our local churches here in Florida, which is a nonprofit. It's one Sunday a month, and so many people enjoy that. And I think it's such a needed resource in the community, because so many people have mental health issues and they don't go to counseling. Another question is, do I drink alcohol? Absolutely not. Have I ever drank? Yes, I did. I feel like it's just not needed for me to be happy. I personally feel that as a Christian, I don't need to drink alcohol, and God calls me to keep my body pure, and so that's what I'm gonna do. And the last question is, what has been your biggest success thus far? My biggest success, apart from my career, has really been being a mother, being a wife, and being able to grow in Jesus Christ, in my Christianity, and sharing it with you guys. So I hope you guys learned a little bit more about me, and if you have any other ideas on videos, please comment them below. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with anybody you'd like. I pray that you guys are safe. Have a great weekend, and till the next time,